All right, class. Today we're going to be looking at keywords, and I need to start my slideshow. There we go. Keywords are, they really are about opening the lock to the kinds of sources that you want to have access to for your final paper. So this is the first step on your research journey. It's to identify keywords. What are those? They're the central terms that you will use to search for research on your topic. Um, One thing to note as we get into this is that I'm totally for you guys using Google. It's an amazing resource and you should use it. You can, even with your really simple terms, you can even just put in a full question on Google and you'll get some great results. But if you go through and use some of the techniques that I'm outlining for you, you'll filter out a lot of stuff that's not the best. I always end up with things like pay for plagiarism, which I hate seeing those when I make a search. I hate finding a site that I think is going to be good, but it turns out to be an ad of some sort. Pinterest links are always cluttering up my searches if I go through Google. So we want to be a little smarter about how we go about doing our searches, and hopefully today will help you. So keywords. Your central terms for this paper will be whatever identity you've chosen to write about, and then the word identity. So if you chose to write about being a student, you would have one set of search terms related to student and one set of search terms related to identity. Plop that into Google and wow, you're already getting some interesting sources. That first one right here, student identities, Stanford Center for Teaching and Learning. I'm interested. The next thing that you'll want to do is start looking for synonyms associated with your search terms so that you have a lot of options available to try. Synonyms related to students would be to add in higher education elements like college or university, college students or university students. You can narrow down your variation to make it more specific where we only get results related to state university students. Or you can broaden it out to something even broader than student, which would be learner. And you'll get more sources if you work on broadening. One thing that you can do as you're looking for synonyms to refine your searches is to get onto Wikipedia and see what they have. The articles for identity, there's tons of them. Arts and entertainment identity. In philosophy and social science, there's just a lot, and there's a lot of movies, music. It's cool. You can get onto these Wikipedia pages and just kind of look around and see, self-concept. That's an interesting term that I could use to plug into a search to see what comes up. Collective identity. Oh, that's interesting. Maybe we could use that. So using those Wikipedia will help you have access to more. So what we're going to be doing is using what they call Boolean search terms in order to take what are keywords and make them work for us. This is for library databases, but they also can be helpful with general search engines too, potentially. Let's go through each of these Boolean operators one by one on their own. So the first one is really simple. It's and. It's where you combine your search terms. Student and identity. Those are our two main areas of searching. When you use and, it usually limits your search results. So if you look at this, a circle for student and a circle for research, if those are our two search terms that we're looking at, the and will show us just the places that have both of them, that mention both of those words, but not one where it only talks about student or only talks about research. Another thing that you can do is to use quotation marks to do phrases. this forces the program to look only for those words if they are in the order that you have put it within the quotation marks. So this is the difference between Star Wars, the franchise, and Star Wars, as in like having a war with stars. That's why we need to be a little bit thoughtful about using quotation marks in order to get the results we want. Those synonyms that we talked about before, we connect those up using the word or. So when you are trying to search for multiple versions of the same concept, you put those words in parentheses and you separate them with an or. You can also use or combine these. You can put higher education, that's a two-word phrase, which we'll put in quotation marks, and then or college or university. Put all of those in parentheses, and that will have all of them together, and the computer will search them as though they are synonyms. When you use or, it tends to broaden your search out a little bit more. So if you're looking for the word student or the word learner, we get more results. When you're using this to search for synonyms, you do need to use these parentheses so that the computer understands what the synonyms are that we're looking at. I repeated my thing. Okay, so, and here's a little Venn diagram. I tried my best to try to explain what it looks like when you search for a phrase in quotation marks. It's only going to search sources that have the exact phrase, college students, in that order. You can use a star at the end of a word to include all of the different types of endings, regardless of the tense or plural. So you put your root word and then a star. So that star will have it search for learn, or learns, or learner, or learning, or learned. So instead of having to do this entire string of synonyms, we can just put the star and it'll give us more results. So if you look at my silly little Venn diagram here, we get all of those results when we use the star. In addition to expanding our results, we also want to limit our results sometimes. So let's say you're talking about identity and all of the sources that we keep coming up with, say theft, identity theft. That's not what we're talking about for this class. So the way that you can limit your results and get rid of those identity theft words is to put a not. So identity, not theft. If you're using Google, it's the minus sign. I tried this recently on Google and it actually didn't work. I think you might have to get into advanced searching on Google for this to work, which is really frustrating. But give it a try and see if maybe you can get it to work, because I struggled recently. I could do it before. I don't know. Maybe I did something wrong. The way that this works is that you basically are filtering out stuff you don't want. So if you're looking for a topic on research, but you don't want anything related to Wikipedia, you don't want it to talk about Wikipedia at all or mention it, you say research, not Wikipedia, and that will give us a more narrow number of searches. So what you want to do once you've kind of played around with all of these different keywords is put them all together and use the tricks in consort with each other. So this string of words, we have in parentheses a set of synonyms, college students in quotation marks because we want it to search for those two words in that order, or university students, and identity because we're combining one set student with our second set of terms, identity. And then we're excluding terms that include the word theft. So here is a quick refresher on what to use and or not, quotation marks and star. One thing that I want to spend at least a minute talking about is how to research subtopics to narrow down your topic. So remember last week when we discovered all these themes related to your identity that you wanted to talk about? These themes can be used as keywords. So I can have a search where I'm searching for teaching and vulnerability, teaching and kindness. I can also have subtopics related to identity and vulnerability, identity and kindness, identity and care. We can play around with truncation and exclusion. It's a lot of interesting possibilities here for searching subtopics. In the end, though, sometimes you may put together the most beautiful string of search terms and not find anything. And you may just walk out into the library and see the book that you need by accident. And you never would have found it if you had gotten into the library database. That's serendipity. Sometimes you just fall on the thing that you need and you can't always force that. So don't rule out the possibility that there may be some luck involved. ISU has a number of YouTube videos that explains how to do this in more detail. And so you can take a look at those and get some responses and ideas. And that's all I've got for you today. So happy researching and yeah, jump on in. The water's fine.